You must not be too far or too close to your men. To maintain the loyalty of one's subjects, he must be gracious and bound. The best way for a monarch to understand the gods is as follows. If the god puts himself before the monarch and pursues his own interests over the country in everything he does, he can never be a good servant or trustworthy. This is because those who directly rule the country should only think of the monarch, not themselves, and should not be interested, unless it is related to the interests of the government. On the other hand, in order to maintain the loyalty of his subjects, the monarch must be considerate, grant grace, and tie them to his side. And he must be given responsibility as well as wealth and honor. So much wealth and honor given should prevent them from pursuing it elsewhere. Fear change with responsibility, and let them know that all this cannot be sustained without a monarch. If the relationship between the monarch and the minister is established in this way, they can trust each other. But in the opposite case, it is clear that one of them will go wrong. Don't ask too many people for advice. A monarch should always listen to advice, but he should do so only when he wants, not when others want to pour it out. In fact, he should be deterred from giving advice that he does not want. The monarch should listen patiently to the questions asked and be able to be angry if someone does not tell the truth for some reason. It is a misunderstanding if you believe that a monarch is wise because of good advice from his aides, not his natural qualities. This is because I think a foolish monarch generally does not take advice well, unless he only relies on a priest of extraordinary ability for all matters. The monarch will receive a lot of help if he meets a good advisor, but it won't last long, as he will soon take away his country. However, it is difficult to integrate opinions, because we do not know how to reconcile the various opinions and suggestions. If an unwise monarch seeks advice from many people, a monarch will not be able to distinguish or modify them, as advisors only consider their own interests. Man has an inherently evil side, and it is difficult to change the other way around, unless it is necessary to be good. Therefore, good advice comes from a monarch's wisdom wherever it comes from. Not from good advice. Give only some wise subjects the full power to tell the truth. It is difficult for a monarch to remain in power, unless he is careful or chooses his gods properly. This is because of the flatterers that fill all the royals. It is difficult to get away from flatterers, because people are usually easily satisfied with themselves and their actions and are misled by them. You may also be hated for trying to avoid them. Therefore, there is no other way to avoid fawning than to show around that you are not angry if you tell the truth. However, if everyone freely tells the monarch the truth, he will lose his respect. As a result, a careful monarch should choose only the wise one from among his subjects and give him the full power to tell the truth. But let the monarch answer only what he asks. The monarch must ask everything and listen to their opinions before making his own decisions. The monarch should behave so that he knows them more freely. His advisors speak, the better they will be accepted. Other than them, you must not listen to others. Follow the agreements and establish your own resolve. Anyone who acts the opposite will be misled by flatterers, or their decisions will be changed due to various opinions, resulting in a disrepute. The monarch must guard against his subjects conspiring in secret. When judging his subjects' private matters, the monarch is able to maintain his power by not reversing his decision, gaining the reputation that no one can even think of deceiving or betraying him. A monarch who has formed such public opinion through his daily actions gains a powerful reputation, and if he is actually good and respected by his subjects, it is difficult to contradict or attack. A monarch has two things to fear. One is to be challenged by his subjects, and the other is to be attacked by a powerful foreign power. In the latter case, he can defend himself with the help of a good army and allies, and with one of them, the other will follow. Also, unless foreign affairs arise, domestic security will not be disturbed unless there is a conspiracy. Even if the monarch is attacked, he can withstand any attack as long as he does not surrender, if he has a well-organized army and has properly governed it. Therefore, even when it is at peace externally. The monarch must be careful not to secretly plot against his subjects. A monarch can be safe from this situation when he satisfies his subjects without being hated or despised. As explained earlier, this should always be his goal. One of the best precautions for a monarch to combat conspiracies is not to be hated or despised by many people. This is because plotters think that the death of a monarch will please the people. However, if they knew that it rather upsets the people rather than appeases them, they would not venture in this way. The reason is that conspirators face numerous difficulties. There have been many conspiracies, but few have been successful. This is due to the fact that it is challenging for a conspirator to act alone, and it is challenging to make a conspirator. Except for those who are dissatisfied, the monarch also offers a means to satisfy the dissatisfied person. If he confides in his plan, he hopes there will be many benefits from criticizing the monarch, and, on the other hand, he thinks this will be beneficial even though he knows there are doubts and risks. If such a person does not keep faith and betray, he will become a close friend or an iron enemy. Never mind the criticism that it is cruel. For the sake of the solidarity of your subjects, a monarch should not be concerned with the criticism of being cruel. For the solidarity and loyalty of his subjects, strict at times would seem more benevolent than disorderly and looting, and murder would occur due to excessive generosity. The former harms the entire society, but the monarch's harsh behavior only harms a few individuals. And above all, the new monarch state is exposed to a lot of danger. So it is hard to escape the criticism that it is cruel in the process. From Machiavelli's point of view, a monarch should be able to utilize both human and animal nature, and should not hesitate to use evil to pursue good. However, regardless of reality, the monarch insists that he should always be seen as a merciful and compassionate person by others. Machiavelli, who understood the core of politics as symbols and appearances, approaches that monarchs should also be different from the way ordinary moral soldiers behave in symbols and appearances. It is frequently experienced that images exert a stronger power than reality in real politics. And this phenomenon is particularly noticeable in modern media-developed times. A monarch must be merciful, faithful, compassionate, religious, and fair-looking. And it is very important to have all these qualities. But to appear to have them all, dare I say, to have them and continue to practice them is detrimental. But to have them is useful. The monarch must be very careful not to let the words that lack the 5 qualities mentioned above slip out of his mouth. When you see him and listen to him, you must make him feel compassionate, noble, humane, fair, and religious. The reason for this is that humans generally try to judge what they saw and heard, rather than what they felt, because anyone can see and hear, but only a few can experience it firsthand. Very few people have seen the substance, because everyone only knows what the monarch looks like. If you just treat your subordinates comfortably, you will have a difficult situation. I hope to gain insight into the nature of human mind and crowd psychology through the theory of monarch.